come to see how my plants are doing. You can see here my squash has completely taken over, which is fine. Being that we're always learning, I try to do like touch and go activity when it comes to the plants. Touch by planting, but letting go when they choose where to be and how to grow. So it does have fruit. You can see here it's definitely fruiting, which is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in killing the plant. I'm interested in the fruit that it puts out as a part of its passing of genetic code, which is rewarding for both the plant and for me. You can see here, pretty significant in size. This is big, huge squash. And it's got little spikes. Actually, it will kind of prick you if you try to grab these leaves. But they make a really nice canopy. Of course, I have tomatoes in here too. They're doing great. I'd really like to see the activity going on down here. Much like a forest, you can see how my other plants are fitting in to this new shade area that they have. Some of them are doing really well as a result, like my basil seems to really enjoy it. My footpath is kind of being taken over here. Gonna have to redirect this vine because I don't want the mower getting it. It's also really rewarding, aside from all of the fruit and how well it's doing, are actually my cabbage. So the cabbage I have here, you can see, they've bolted because I wanted them to go to seed, which is in these little pods. So they came back from last year. Last year was the first year that I had these in particular. So for the following year, I just let them bolt, because they came back on their own. So I figured these were the strong that survived through the snow and everything. They come back, so I let them go to seed to pass on and make more plants. But what happened was they became diseased, and instead of treating them, I just let it happen. And what's really rewarding for me right now as I'm looking, and they're disease-free. This is a very healthy new plant, but you can see the older sections here. See how it's just destroyed? The whole thing was like that at one point. It was all brown and gray, all of it. But when I look now, I see healthy new shoots that are coming from these older disease sections that I actually had cut away a big portion of it because it was really disgusting. I mean, it was like mold plumes and really, really bad stuff that I just was afraid was getting a little out of hand. So that was the touch and go, was I just did light touch. I cut away a lot of the major disease sections that were coming off, but I left the plants intact to let them fight it. And you can see, there's always going to be insects that take little nibbles here and there, but that's not concerning. That's actually a good sign. But you can see very healthy, the new growth, impressive. So next year they should be immune to it because they've survived, and they've survived very well, enough to go to seed. Really happy with these guys. I was afraid I lost all of them because they're also in a tight row. So they were all together, which is kind of a no-no. In retrospect, I should have placed one here, one there, disperse them. So if one picked up a disease, it didn't pass it on to the next one. There was a different plant in between them that wouldn't catch the same thing, which is the essence of companion planting. So I have some tomatoes down in here. Lots of heirloom tomatoes. I am so excited about. Really, really hoping these guys come through. I had some seed left over, and I wasn't sure if they were still good because of how they were stored. And I had moved, but it seems like they're still good. And they're really, I mean, gosh, I'm getting lost in where I am here. It just looks so different. It's so thick. But to someone who is controlling, they would try to thin this out and say it's too thick, thin it out. But if you look down in here, it's actually a really nice little ecosystem. Those tomatoes that would otherwise be hanging and touching dirt, they're nestled in with leaves. It's nice and cool in here. It's not hot like it is outside. All this greenery has really, really changed the temperature in there, so they're not, you know, baking alive in there because they're in full sun, like up top. Just down here, it's just a whole nother world. Oh, my rosemary, I forgot about you. This poor rosemary was a little bush that was inside. It was just dying inside. It really didn't like being indoors, and I mean, I took proper care of it, but I've noticed with all of my plants, they know when they're inside and they don't like it. And although I do have some that are indoor plants, like some of my herbs, they really don't do as well as they do outside. I have them inside because everything else out here really likes to eat them, and although I have some out here, I have some inside just in case all of the ones out here get eaten or destroyed. And they also don't last the winter. But this one has brand new shoots, where it was half dead before. Just really wasn't liking being in a pot inside. So even though it's being bullied by these other plants, it's actually much healthier than it was. So that's a good sign. This one's just kind of going through its motions. So this one's a medicinal, so we'll just let that one. I really like it mainly because it always has flowers for the native pollinators to do their thing. But you can see all the fruit that's about to pop up on here. This is a food factory right here. They are just starting to produce, and they are about to blow up with food. Down here too, look. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 more. I mean, just food everywhere you look on the way. Really exciting. Oh, here too, got the little, just starting to grow. And we've got a nice fat tomato right there starting to. Wow. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. This one has outgrown. I think next year I will make them a trellis. This is the relationship you'll have with your plants. You don't want to hurt your plants because you both benefit from each other if you work as a good team. So I'm trying to work with them. So they're telling me, this one in particular is telling me it needs more space. It has a lot of fruit to put out. I mean, just look, bam, 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 right there, right there, right there. I mean, it's ready and willing to provide for me. I just haven't provided for it as well as it's about to provide for me. So I need to change that. Next year, I'll save these seeds as my promise to the plant to spread its DNA in exchange for the food. Next year I'll give it a nice trellis, give it a better home. Make the nice, you know. Without them I don't have anything. Without them I have a barren forest that was all but cleared in the 1900s. So if I am not a good cultivator, I will not have anything. And that's kind of the way of the world right now. We've decimated anything wild that would have been sustainable. Oh, fuzzy. Not the plants. So, these are important. Wow.